Welcome to Ask and Learn.
All right, the question here is let f of x equals tangent of x. Sure that f of 0 is equal to f of pi, but there's no number c in 0 pi such that f prime of 0 is equal to 0. Why does this not contradict Rolle's theorem? Okay, so let's begin. So let's first begin by showing that f of 0 is equal to f of pi. So the tangent of 0, so when we put in f of 0, we get tangent of 0. And so the tangent of 0 is, if you recall, remember the tangent function is just the sine over the cosine. So when you plug in sine of 0 at the top, this is really just sine of 0 over cosine of 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, but the sine of 0 is 0, so this gives us a value of 0. And if you plug in f of pi, you do the same thing. You do tangent of pi, and then we know that the sine of pi is also 0, and the cosine of pi, I believe, is -1, which still gives us 0. So we know that f of 0 is equal to f of pi. So it satisfies that conditions. And so before we actually address continuity and differentiability, it is really important to understand the graph of f of x. So if you recall, the tangent of x is actually it's not continuous function, and the reason why it has to do with its periodicity. And so we know that the tangent function is pi periodic, so it has a pi periodic, and so there's a bit of a problem here. So the function sine over cosine x produces a problem because it is a rational function if you think about it that way, so sine over cosine. So when the cosine function is equal to 0, we get a 0 at the bottom, which gives us which is an undefined function. And undefined function gives us a infinite problem. It gives us a point where it is not equal to 0. So what this produces is a graph that looks actually like this. So tangent of x, remember, if you recall, actually looks something like that. And this occurs at all intervals. So this is -pi/2, and this is +pi/2. And this occurs every pi interval. So this is going to keep going on, and this is also going to keep going on this way. And you can see that this function is not continuous. We have a vertical asymptote. So the continuity does not exist here. Now, the question of differentiability is still here. So since this is a function that is pi periodic, it seems initially that it would be differentiable over 0 pi. But if you look at the graph, it's actually from -pi/2 from pi/2. So if we're going from 0 to pi, we have to cross over this vertical asymptote. But we can't take a derivative at pi/2. So this is also not a true statement. So since these two conditions fail, we know that this function tangent of x does not satisfy the conditions required for Rolle's theorem, so it does not contradict it.